Well, if you're into combat sports or you love violence, you've come to the right place. I'm Erik Apple. This is the Fight Guys, and I'm coming to you once again from French Polynesia. That's right. I'm here on the island of Tahiti, just a few feet away from the wave they call Teapo'o. That is the site of last year's Summer Olympics surfing event, the most beautiful and dangerous wave in the world. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what's gone on and what's going on in the world of combat sports. Joining me today on the Fight Guys, one of my closest friends in the world, not just in MMA. Let's talk to Renato Babalu Sobral. Babalu, welcome to the show, brother.
Hello, thank you guys for having me.
Babalu is, for most of you guys who should know exactly who he is, he's a legend in the sport of MMA. He's had some of the biggest wins and gone up against some of the best opponents in the world. He's even been the champion of more than one organization, so we're happy to have him join us. But before we get to talking about Babalu and what's going on in his world, let's talk about what happened last week in the UFC Fight Night, Usman versus Buckley. Man, this was what looked like some pretty exciting fights, and I'm not going to lie, it was a decision fest. I mean, even the main event. So we had Alonzo Menefield beating Umar Sy by decision, Abdul Malik beating Cody Brundage by decision, Raoni Barcelos beating Cody Garbrandt by decision, Shabazian beating Andre Petroski by decision. Then we got to the two big fights. Rose Namajunas, someone that everyone knows all about. She had a relatively exciting fight. She beat Miranda Maverick, a former training partner of hers, by unanimous decision again. Miranda, just as a note, she tore her ACL in the first round, which to be able to finish the fight with a blown ACL, Babalu, you can, I'm sure, attest to that. That shows some real toughness, doesn't it?
Yes, of course. Being over there, it's you, for a second, you numb yourself, but ACL is a major ligament that you have, and probably feel the knee really wobbling, kind of hard. But
yeah, it's got to be massively
a lot of respect for the person who can finish the fight after they blow the ACL.
Huge respect. So yeah. She showed she was tough. She hung in there. She actually had her moments in the fight, had some top position. She went for a couple submissions, but Rose won most of the rounds. I think some of the judges said it was 30-27. On to the main event. This was a pretty exciting one, a welterweight fight. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. Kamaru was a former champion. He had a couple losses in a row, 3 losses in a row. And most recent, I think, was a Khamzat Chimaev at 185 that he took a last-minute fight. But now he's back to his weight class. He had a full training camp, and he took 4 out of 5 rounds against a really, really hot fighter, Joaquin Buckley. His wrestling really overtook everything else. And as Babalu knows with the wrestling background, if you could dictate where the fight goes, Babalu, you're usually going to be able to control the fight and win.
Yes, wrestling is a big tool. You can decide whatever, if you want to go on the ground, if you want to stay up. Very important. And I think both guys are pretty good wrestlers, right?
Well, Joaquin Buckley is known for his big kicks and punches, his power punches. Remember, Joaquin Buckley is the fighter who his opponent caught one of his kicks, and then he did a spinning back kick in midair with one foot being held by his opponent and KO.
Wow.
So he's super explosive, and he's known for those strikes. He just was not able to stop the wrestling of Kamaru Usman. It was pretty obvious. Let's talk about the world of MMA and the news that's going on. One of the biggest things we talk about every week is we are still waiting for an announcement about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. Jon Jones has been sitting out for, I don't know, it seems like years at this point. It's got to be really difficult for the UFC. They got to be really frustrated. Babalu, what do you think about a champion like Jon Jones, who's sitting out this long and not taking a fight and trying to renegotiate? And is he ducking the fight?
He wants to be out. Well, I don't really understand why the fight wants to be out. If he wants to be out, he just stop fighting, do something else, be an actor or something. Fighting is supposed to be fighting. That's what I think.
Maybe he knows in his mind that he's done, and he's just milking it and wants to say, "I'm still the champion." Possibly,
man, he's pretty good fighter. He beats a lot of guys, and I got a lot of respect for Jon Jones. But yes, if the guy doesn't want to fight, making excuses, just move on, do something else.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just for his ego. He wants to continue to say he's the current champion, or just keeps trying to renegotiate and get more money, which we know goes on a lot of times with the fighters. So who knows what's happening there? I mean, they say they have an agreement, but they haven't announced it yet, so we'll see. Another big thing happening in the world of MMA is former champion Ben Askren. He's supposedly on his deathbed. He has, very serious pneumonia, has been in intensive care. So we'll keep our prayers for, a guy that's a husband and a father, because his family is what's important, and we want to hope that he's good for them.
Yes, I was very surprised when I hear the news. Let's keep a prayer for him, for his family. I hope he can get off this situation, man, very soon. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's weird to think sometimes, because we think as fighters that, ourselves and all of our friends, we feel like we're bulletproof, that we're never going to get sick, we're never going to die, but it can happen. So we want to be feels better, right?
Yeah, we got strong, but the virus got strong over the years too. So crazy disease out there.
All right, let's move on into boxing, Babalu. Now, you may or may not like this news. A lot of real fighters are not really into this. But the biggest boxing matchup coming up this month is Julio César Chávez Jr. versus Jake Paul. Now, I want to hear your take on Jake Paul. I'm going to give you mine first. I don't hate on it at all. I think he's brilliant. I think they have managed his career incredibly well. They have slowly but surely stepped him up as far as his competition, and he's beat all except for one guy. And he's making a lot of money, tens of millions of dollars as a boxer. He's obviously taken the sport very serious. He's moved to Puerto Rico, where a lot of guys go to train for boxing. He's got a full compound there. He has the best trainers, the best nutritionists, the best sparring partners. I mean, these people talk shit, but he's doing it right, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, but he does correctly. Until you beat his ass, nobody can say anything. He does great. If after somebody step up and beat his ass, then you can say something. But before that, he's a man. I mean, what can I say? Just there and train and put the show, train hard, and promote boxing itself. And I'm embarrassed sometimes. I see some MMA fighters they can't beat by him, but it happens though. My hat's for him. I take my hat for him.
Yeah, I doubted him many times. I thought, he won't win this fight. He won't win this fight. The big one for me was Anderson Silva. I can't believe he actually dropped Anderson. It was hard to accept that.
Yes, exactly. In all the fights too. And I mean, I forgot the name of the fighter that he fought, but he knocked some good guys. He knocked out some good guys.
Yeah, he's legit. And I don't know if you know, but he was an all-state wrestler in Ohio, which is a state where there's a lot of wrestlers.
Yes, tough guy. No, he's a good box technique though, I can say.
Well, a lot of people want to talk negatively about him, but I mean, like I said, if you're an all-state wrestler in Ohio, you're a tough athlete for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So just so you know, this week Anderson Silva came out and he picked Julio César Chávez Jr. to beat Jake Paul. Anderson Silva is the only fighter to have fought Jake Paul and Julio César Chávez. Now they both Anderson beat César Chávez and Jake Paul beat Anderson Silva. So Anderson Silva should have some expertise in this. This fight's going to happen in Anaheim, California on June 28th. So right in our backyard of the Honda Center. Maybe we should go check it out.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I think Jake Paul can take this one.
I think that if Julio César Chávez Jr. doesn't have a very serious camp, doesn't train really, really hard, if he takes this lightly, I think he'll get beat up as well.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, let's talk before we get to talking about you, Babalu. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening this week in fights. The UFC is going to have UFC Fight Night, Khalil versus Rountree. They're going to be in Baku in Azerbaijan. It's known as a land of fire, but hopefully this week it's a land of KOs, because there are a lot of knockout artists on this card. Babalu, am I wrong to say that you've been to Azerbaijan for wrestling?
No, Azerbaijan, no, never been there. But okay. So you have good fighters there, man.
Well, they're tough people because they come from a tough place, right?
Yes.
Tell me your expertise on that. I mean, when you fight guys from Eastern Europe, from Russia, or from countries where there's a lot of war, you can pretty much count on them being tough, right?
Yes. I've been there. I saw how they train. I trained over there already. I didn't train in Azerbaijan, but I trained in East Europe, and people take very serious the training. They train since they're a young age. Tough. It's a tough. How you can say tough pill to swallow? Yes,
Tough pill to swallow.
hard
Yeah.
pill to swallow. Hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to quickly go over the main card. 145 pounds, Muhammad Naimov. He's heavily favored and 12-3 versus Bogdangrad. Naimov has 8 finishes, and Bogdangrad is 15-2. So that should seem like it should be a good fight, but Naimov is heavily favored. At lightweight, Nassim Sadikov, 10-1-1. He's minus 440 over Nicholas Mota, and he has 7 KOs. Nicholas Mota has 10 KOs. So again, these are knockout artists. Another lightweight fight, Tofik Musayev, 22-5. He's a plus 150 underdog with 18 KOs versus Miktabik Oralbai, who's 13-2-1 with 11 finishes. He is a minus 175 favorite. Now we'll get to some of the names that you might recognize. Heavyweight, Curtis Blades, 18-5 is a minus 263 favorite with 13 KOs versus Rizvan Kuniev, who's 13-2-1 plus 223. The co-main event, Rafael Fiziev, he's 12-4, a plus 110 underdog, slight underdog. He's got 8 KOs taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. He's a fighter from Chile who I've seen is pretty exciting. 17-5, he's a minus 130 favorite. And then the main event. I know you know about these guys. Jamahal Hill, 12-3. He's taking on Khalil Rountree Jr. Now, you remember Khalil Rountree fought Powhatan recently. He's a pretty tough Muay Thai fighter, but Powhatan picked him apart. Powhatan, as we know, is we don't know where he's fighting right now. So these guys are some of the big names in the division right now. Khalil Rountree is a minus 123 favorite. He's got 9 KOs, and this could be a pretty exciting main event. Do you have any thoughts on these guys, Babalu?
No, I have no thought. I know their style very good.
Yeah, it should be pretty exciting. Both these guys should have some pretty good stand-up fights. I think Rountree might be coming out with something to prove after that fight with Powhatan. Well, let's skip these fights. They're not the biggest fights that we really care about. Let's talk about you, Babalu. We know that you haven't been fighting for quite a while, but you've been running a really successful gym in Cerritos down there in Southern California in our backyard. Tell us about how your transition has gone.
It's funny when you say about that. I've been in the game for MMA for such a long time, and then you throw a lot of names out there, and a lot of names that I never heard of it, But what I see, far as when I see the fights those days, they're pretty good, man. They're war machines. They step in a cage.
Do you think that these guys had more, because they've had more opportunity to train from a young age in both grappling, wrestling, and striking? Have you noticed the fighters' level has really gone up over the years?
Yeah, and also not only that, it's like when the race for the space, and you throw one spaceship and maybe break. You go another one, you go a little further, you throw another one, and then one day you go throw another one, you go to the moon. So I think that's what happened those days. They have a lot of data come from us, where how to train, what you did wrong, what you did right in the past, and then they can scout better how to do better training, better positions, better technique, and less sparring, less damage of themselves on the guys, and better conditional training. Those guys are pretty dangerous, though. They're very dangerous fighters. And not long ago, when Fabricio decided to fight again, when he did a bare knuckle fight with Dos Santos,
Yep.
and he came to train. He had a Rafael Cordeiro, and I was I always trained jiu-jitsu here and there, and try to keep myself in sort of shape. But I don't even punch in the boxing heavy bags anymore. But I decided to jump on the practice of the professional. That was the worst idea that I have in my life.
Well, this is not. We talked about this with Cowboy.
not only my time was off, but they're so rough. They're so good, strong, they're pretty good, man. The lighter guys, I see they're kind of feel sorry for me, you know. They're trying.
Well, we talked about this last week with Cowboy Cerrone that this is not a sport that you can do half-assed. You have to 100% be in, or you're going to get beat up.
Yes, and and I don't know how those guys can keep fighting for a long age, but this is pretty dangerous though. But those guys, the new guys, they'll come like a wrecking ball. They're pretty damn good. They're pretty damn good. There's no more space for amateur. No more space for amateur anymore.
Let me ask you a question too. Have you noticed? Do you feel like that the fighters these days are more athletes that fight instead of fighters that are taking part in a sport? Like, do you feel like our generation was more killers who enjoyed hurting people?
Yes, it was more like this. I can say that. Now my mindset, our mindset was different. You know, like you said, you know, you're kind of killers. You just want. It's different though. I tell people in those days, and what I was more back when I was young. I didn't have an idol. I mean, I have one here and there, but no, we didn't have anybody rich. So like, oh, I see this guy here. He make $1 million on fighting. Let's try to be like him. So then I preserve myself. No, yeah. Many times you fight every month. You know, if I have 12 fights in 1 year. And
that's insane.
It's impossible to think in those days you can have a 12 fights in 1 year. If you can do that, you're gonna break your whole bones, you know, those days. And also the difference of technique, you know. Everybody knows jiu-jitsu in those days. Everybody knows wrestling. Everybody knows everything. And back in the days, you can step in a fight and fight somebody else. They have a zero backgrounds on the floor, and the fight will be, you know, a piece of cake. A piece of cake. It's like I'm telling people, and put your kid in training jiu-jitsu, because if your kid knows jiu-jitsu, he's advanced against another person doesn't know how to fight. It's tremendous. It's huge.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even know how to. He doesn't need to throw a punch, you know, and he just knows to learn jiu-jitsu for defend yourself. Jiu-jitsu is only.
Remember,
like I said, in back in the days, you can see guys like a Royce Gracie fight. It's a big guys, the huge guys to fight against him. He has no trouble to finish those guys. That's what happened.
Yeah, but nowadays, everybody's so skilled. If you have one guy that outweighs another by 30, 40, 50 pounds, the smaller guy is not going to have a chance anymore.
Yes, no, yeah. I also think that this doesn't happen those days. I don't think it would be impossible. Is this open weight division tournaments? Even tournaments itself, you know, to have 3 fights is one night, because of the accuracy of the fighters, the strength of the fighters. And it's different from like it's supposed to be in the past. I have many fights without. I have many tournaments. I fought. I
was there in Denver.
Maybe 10. Yeah, maybe I fought 6 or 7 tournaments in my life.
Yeah,
I know. I'm not quite sure because my data in my head is not so good, but tournaments, we go one fight to another on the same night. If the spectators that watch this show doesn't know what it is, it's the same night. It's like you fight in a jiu-jitsu competition, you fight for MMA. You fight one fight. They used to be eight men's tournament.
Yeah. I was there with you when you won the IFC tournament in Denver, Colorado, and you beat guys like Shogun, Trevor Cranley, all in the same night.
How beat up I was after the tournament. Because in the people start getting more advanced on techniques, you know. That was the event itself on the tournament. I think technique-wise, people is pretty even, if you can say that, right? Yeah. If you think about the planteel of the fighters on that night, people technique-wise, it was pretty much even, you know. So you can see it was really hard to finish the fights on on
Yeah.
that time.
Do you remember that when we were younger too, we would get matched up by the matchmakers at whatever it was, Strikeforce or WEC or wherever we fought, and we would look at our opponents and say, "Oh, what's he good at and what's he not good at?" But
Yes,
nowadays,
exactly. Yeah.
that doesn't happen nowadays, right? Everybody's good at everything.
Yes. Yes. I think
Let,
right
let me
now it's more fights in those days, more on detail. Like a timing. If you get the guy timing, if you a technique, something that little mistakes the person you have to capitalize. It's no more. Doesn't have the difference in technique
Yeah,
wise anymore. You know.
we say it's more like a game of inches now.
Yes. Exactly.
So let me ask you a question. Is there anybody in the UFC or MMA or boxing that excites you that you care to watch? I know maybe you like to watch Poatan. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like to watch Poatan. His fights is pretty exciting. But like I said, it's not something to get it out of my way. I wouldn't do something or go to watch an event. But every time they have opportunity to watch Poatan fight, I do because he's a knockout artist. So
Yeah,
it's good to watch. It's good to watch. It's fun to
yeah.
watch.
Let me ask you one more question, Babalu. Is there anything that you miss about fighting? Is there even one thing you miss about? Is it the competition or what? Is there anything that you miss?
Mm.
Fighting with your wife?
So it's funny. People every time people ask me about this from outsiders doesn't understand what you've been through when you fight, but I don't have anything that I'm missing from fighting.
Is it because
Now,
you had so many fights and you fought at the top level? You've done everything there is to do,
yes.
so you didn't miss out on anything. You did everything.
So I have a 45-9 fights. So that's where I said enough. It says a lot.
Yeah,
I think it's hard from those days to people getting those type of
yeah,
so many fights because, like I said, you cannot. It's very hard those days to get too many fights
yeah,
in 1 year, and yeah, it was just dieting and hurt myself and it's well, it's not. I didn't say I was sacrificing. I was working for the towards to my goal,
yeah,
but many times I was injured and hurt on myself, but and I have to go train because I have to be on a cage,
yeah,
and those days you make a lot of money. No, I think when we live paycheck by paycheck, I think
yeah,
that's where we're supposed to live in back the days. Fight by
yeah,
fight. You
yeah.
fight one day, you make some money, you've been happy, and then you spend money, then you take it to the next fight.
Well,
That's
I always tried to stop you from wasting all the money, if you remember.
yeah, yes.
I think I seem to remember one night that I was able to return a $25,000 diamond necklace to the Hard Rock Hotel jewelry store because you were drunk and
But
you bought it
even
with your
that,
check.
dude, but it's even though it's not a lot of money, it's not like
No.
if people the difference is ridiculous that you make money in the back of the days from now. It's just like it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Okay, I spent $25 on a watch, but those guys $25 nothing. It's
Twenty-five
bargain.
thousand.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
But the 25,000 it was the whole money. I was just crazy.
I think it was half your check.
Yes.
You said half your check on a necklace after the fight. I love it. Well, I think that today's fighters owe someone like you a lot. Somebody with over 50 fights, 45 wins, somebody who really paved the road for these guys in the UFC and in other organizations, for Brazilians, for Americans. And as someone who looked up to you when they fought, I think from all of us, we appreciate what you've done in the sport very much, brother.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate. I feel very proud when people recognize me sometimes on the street. I know my fans they're kind of they have some wrinkles on their face, but I still very proud of myself for things that happened in the past. But I don't miss anything. I don't. So I'm very peaceful with my past. It's in the past. Right now I'm focused 100% here on my gym reels The only
Yep.
thing that I watch in those days, if you ask me, is the kids competition jiu-jitsu. I keep watching all the time to see, not even watching adults very much, because the most people that I have here are kids, and I have a lot of kids that compete, and I watch a lot of kids competition to see people mistakes here and there to capitalize and try to address better for my kids here, and jiu-jitsu is a tremendous martial arts itself. It's a tremendous tool to mold the character of any human beings. If I'm just when I'm finished my career, I coach a couple fighters here and there because they were my friends, and
Yeah.
they really asking me to be there for them and to share my experience. They feel comfortable with me on the corner. For the friendship, for the time that I be in a cage, they like to hear what I have to say to them. But then when I'm finished, I moved on, and then I really deep inside my business here. There's Jiu-Jitsu gym and Muay Thai gym that I have here in Cerritos,
Yep.
and I don't try to fix the road. But I try to fix people that surround me, around me. I try
Yep.
with the martial arts. I don't think I can just go online and try to try to change the world of my posts or what I have to say. But I really changed a couple people's life here. They surround of me, and
That's awesome.
that's nothing more rewarding than hear the kids leaving this gym after 6 months or so with the chest proud,
Yeah.
with they
I
can
understand.
look ahead and put the chin up. Girls or boys, they're proud of themselves and what they do in their life, and they took the good path. And I think that's the path that I took it. Instead of being high level in the sport, I went to the base. I went right in the bottom. So that's I want to
Well,
make a difference here.
Well, I appreciate you, and I'm sure every single one of your students and their families appreciate you. For everyone at home, if you're in Southern California, you're in LA, you're in Orange County, make sure you go to Cerritos, check out Babalu at Babalu's Iron Gym. That's it for this week on The Fight Guys. I'm Erik Apple. That's Babalu, and we'll see you next
Thank you very
week.
much. Thank you, guys. Have fun, Apple.